What is up? It's Stevie B, aka Stevie Barracuda, and we're jumping right into the action as my buddy Carlos hand feeds a shark. He hand fed it a bonita that we had caught. This is actually the bonita that we fed to the shark, me catching it. It slammed right under the engine. He's trying to gaff it. There's sharks coming under my boat. You'll see sharks flying around under the water in a second. I mean, that shark must have gone just a couple feet away from the fish. I'm fighting it desperately. It's right under the boat. He can't get the gaff on it yet. And then the shark swings back around for it. Still somehow the fish is just dangling off the side of my boat. It's too heavy for me to hand line it. He can't get the gaff on it, and then eventually he just grabs the tail of the fish. I think I had it a little turned around, but the sharks were looming, so that's why we ended up feeding that one to the sharks. We caught about 6 of those bonita. I cleaned and smoked one of them, and gave the rest of the meat to somebody else, and we chunked one for bait and fed a couple to the sharks. This is me getting hooked up again on some action. Using a different rod reel setup for these 2 first catches. I haven't really caught a lot on this setup. It's a Talica. It's a Shimano Talica reel. It's the size 8 2-speed, which is, I think, the smallest full-size, like, conventional reel that Shimano offers in the Talica line. At least definitely the smallest 2-speed lever drag that they offer. I actually had to put my rod down because Carlos had a fish on the boat, basically. So I had an active fish on my line, put it back in the rod holder, nabbed this guy on the gaff real quick, and got right back to my fight. I actually forgot for about a minute after this because I was so pumped that my buddy got a big old fish, and that's probably the second biggest one we caught that day, maybe the biggest one, but the first 2 we caught were humongous. He caught another little one right here. Carlos got another one up off the bottom. Just to tell you about where we're fishing, what we're doing, we're up in Jupiter. We went north to Jupiter out of Palm Beach Inlet, thinking that we'd have a good bite up there because it's pretty much always a good bite up there. Fed another one to a shark. That one we had dehooked and we were planning to keep for bait or to eat or whatever, and it was just bleeding so much and it wasn't gonna make it that we just tossed it back in. Here my buddy Carlos gets the line wrapped around my rod. Actually, I had another line that had gone under the boat wrapped around my line somehow, so I was self-tangled, which is always a little bit embarrassing, but Carlos helped me get that sorted out. And at this point in the video, we had actually moved from Jupiter because there were so many sharks and we had caught so many bonito that our arms were kind of tired and our backs were kind of tired, and we were a little worried about getting by the sharks as many times as we did. We got lucky, but we ended up moving over to like a grouper hole right south of Palm Beach Inlet, and ended up snagging this nice little mutton snapper, and I went and grabbed the measuring tape immediately before I even dehooked it, because I think these guys are 17 and a half or 18 to keep. I'll get back to you guys with that, or you can comment if you know the exact answer, but I know if you're over 18 you're good, and this guy was clearly sitting around 19, 20 maybe, so definitely a safe eat. Little dapping the homies, great catch, and I end up taking a little photo op here. Carlos shows me how to get under the gills and take a real photo like a man. Stop being a baby around these fish. Start getting a little Floridian on them. Start getting them where it hurts. Showing them your strength, getting them that grip. So that's the first time I've really slid my finger into a gill plate there, and definitely felt kind of nice, kind of like you have a grip on that thing. So here's Carlos on a really light tackle. He's more of a purist than me. He keeps his tackle light. He keeps his tackle cheap, and he definitely rags on me that he catches as many fish as me with a fraction invested in the equipment that he runs, but we kind of jabber about that sometimes, and here he had a nice little snapper. Sorry, I pulled out the phone here. I was gonna look up the rules on keeping it, and then we just kind of decided to let it go. So anyway, I like to show the toss back when I can. So we made that decision. He tossed the fish back, swam off strong. I ended up catching like an exact copy of that fish 10 seconds later. And I slid the hook right out and threw it back in. I had a little trouble getting the hook out, so the video is going to cut. But same beautiful little snapper. I don't know if it's a vermilion or a big eye, what you would call it, but pretty little snapper. And then we got a little bonus footage. I had gone fishing a time before, and I really didn't have a good day fishing. I didn't catch much. I had tons of bites. I kept getting destroyed at this spot. The grouper kept taking me into the rocks, and I just wasn't winning any of my fights when I got hooked up. I lost all of my fights on this particular day, but right here I had hooked up, and I was implementing a new fishing style, which is where you just kind of sit in the chair on your boat with one rod in your hand and wait for a bite, which really worked out. I enjoy this style of fishing, but I think my sitting and my lackluster reeling ended up leading to me getting barracuda. I know. The barracuda got barracuda. Who would have thought? But you can see this little snapper I pull up is bearing the markings of a barracuda attack, which is pretty much that your fish is chomped in half below the head. Barracuda slash and then come back to eat the two halves of whatever they cut in half. So, it's a good safety thing for them, especially with all the fishermen around. And there was my little doggy Kai, and just a little shot of the bay on the way out. Thanks for watching, and hope you enjoyed the video. Peace.